Well, it should be interesting. Solo podcast. I was afraid it was going to happen last week. It didn't. It worked out okay. I've been afraid it's going to happen at some point because life is crazy for everybody, and this train keeps rolling. So I didn't want to not do an episode this week. I could have done a rerun. I still might. We'll see how this goes. But I think we're just gonna send it, see who shows up on a random Monday night at 9:30 p.m. and make a podcast out of it. If it sucks, I'll figure something else out. There's a really good chance it'll suck. So hopefully, I got the number on the screen, the phone number for the show to call in for our live call in line. It's 262-757-4122, and comments are uh, open on the screen, so can maybe pull off of some of that stuff too. I don't really have a good talk line, but there are a bunch of things I feel like I could talk about. So let's get it. Let's get it going.
This is the Okayest Hunter podcast. Never pass on shooter bucks, because that's just meat in the freezer. It's your tag. You hunt how you want. This is Okayest Hunter.
Welcome to the Okayest Hunter podcast, coming to you from Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. I'm Eric. I'm in the studio solo tonight. I don't think this has happened in 3 years. There was a point in time when I would run this thing on my own, and there would be several episodes by myself, which I think are terrible episodes. So this is probably going to be a terrible episode. The phone lines are open. There's a good chance we'll get a few folks that call in. I let our podcast network know on our what's it called? WhatsApp? What's chat? I don't know, something like that. And just seeing if anyone's around or awake. So people might pop in. We'll see. I don't really know what to expect here, but it's hard to ask everyone to be present on this thing. It's a labor of love or something. Might be a labor of something not love, but nonetheless, we're rolling, rocking, and all that stuff. Busy week, so a little bit of context here before we get into the sponsorship callouts, partnership stuff. It's a busy week with getting ready for Foam Fest. It's a short week work-wise because of the holiday, and condenses some things. And then school stuff is starting back up. So I got 2 kids in school this year versus last year I had 1. We got open house coming up here tomorrow night, the traditional podcast time, and well, family first. So it was either gonna be tonight or Wednesday, and Wednesday's got stuff going on. Then Thursday's kind of wonky, and then we're boom on that day off for the holiday, and so that's no good. Plus, it's Foam Fest, getting ready for stuff. So here we are. It's Monday night. My brain's pretty confused about everything. I don't even have a bourbon. I have some water just because I felt like it's going to be a busy week. I'm not trying to drink tonight. I might. Well, it's an early podcast episode, so maybe I'll just get shit faced by myself in the basement here. But Dalton, always interesting in talking about mock scrapes. Do you run them and how they work best? I'm going to get to that question in a second. And Dalton, you're asking the wrong guy. I wish Derek or Greg were here to answer that question. I'll do my best, and maybe you can call into the show and you can talk about it, because I think you probably it might be a leading question because you probably have better answers than I do. But I do want to talk about a couple things real quick before we get into listener comments, and I'm really grateful that there's at least one already. That's a good start. Gives me some hope, and gives you guys hope as listeners. But so Foam Fest is our 3D archery event. For those that don't know or haven't been following along or are new to the show, it's very Midwest centric. It's in Wisconsin at Horicon Marsh Archers, which is in Horicon. I don't know. It's about 45 minutes from where I live, north of Oconomowoc. Decent location, like centralized wise. I think a lot of people can get to it relatively easily. The venue itself is great. It's a really great clubhouse, great property grounds. I just talked to one of the guys there tonight. He's going to spray for mosquitoes either Friday night or Saturday morning for the course. I think there's going to be 18 targets in total, if I'm not mistaken, and I very well could be, and I should know these things, but I just don't. I have too much going on to pay attention to things, apparently, and I suck at planning, as my wife reminds me on a regular basis. And so there's that. And what else? So lots of stuff is being given away there, just to kind of cover the basis for those folks that are showing up or might still be on the fence and aren't 100% sure that they want to show up. Uh, the event's at 10 a.m. is when it kicks off. Some of us and the crew members or what have you will get there probably around 8:30, 9 o'clock to just kind of get set up and make sure everything's all ready to go, all that stuff. There'll be coffee and donuts for everybody in the morning, so you can dig into some of that stuff. I love it. No, not eating a single donut ever made anybody fat. Let me just say that right there. But if you can eat, 12 of them, you might have a different problem. I don't eat donuts enough, and I'm really excited about the donuts. Period. Like I'm really excited about that. There'll be lunch, burgers, brats, hot dogs, potato salad, chips, and then everyone that buys a ticket to shoot and be there, that's already registered on Eventbrite, which is on our website. You can get there and register at okayesthunter.com. Click on our About, and it's at Events tab. You can also find it in our link in the bio on Instagram. But that $40 gets you access to shoot those 18 targets. Try out some gear in the local area. There's like a big wide open space with some mature trees you can set up. We're going to set up a bunch of saddle stuff from Latitude. We're going to be setting up the Lone Star, the Maverick, and the Method 2, as well as the Carbon Speed Series sticks. So you can kind of get a feel for all that stuff, and you can actually lob arrows at some Hadevale targets that they have set up there. So that'll be pretty. I mean, I like that part quite a bit. Lets you kind of experience the product firsthand, contend with the bridge, all that stuff. Kid activities. There's a kid shed hunt that Derek, he basically puts it on because he's got a shit ton of sheds. The Shed Dog Millionaire, as I like to call him. We bring in a box of sheds. Any Easter egg hunt you've ever been on where your parents hide eggs, inevitably, like where you hid them, but you always can't find one or two. It gets kind of weird. Like, oh, I feel like I should know where this is because I hit them. But so imagine that with antlers, and these are Derek's antlers. And last year, I think we got down to the wire and we couldn't find one. Everyone's like seriously looking at this point, and we did find it, but it turned into an actual shed hunt. So good time for the kids with that. When they bring their antler back, they get a candy or something out of the bucket, a little trinket or something. There's also going to be youth bows. I don't want to say youth targets, but there's going to be targets set up with youth bows and likely some coloring books and stuff like that. There's a couple little playgrounds there, I believe. They're in okay shape. So there's stuff for kids to do. That obviously they can walk the course with you, and if they're going to shoot the course, they can too. Kids are free, so no worries about that. If you're bringing your wife or something like that and she's not going to shoot, or if you bring your husband and he's not going to shoot, or whatever your situation is, always reminds me of Step Brothers. What is their situation, Dad? They don't have to pay if they're not going to shoot. So mostly I just want people to register so you get a good head count for food. Then that $40 also gets you a raffle ticket and a free drink ticket. That free drink ticket is good for beer, soda, water, whatever you're going to drink. And then that raffle ticket you can put into, I don't know if it's called like a silent auction, but you put your ticket into the thing you want to win for the drawing. Then you can buy additional raffle tickets if you want to put more tickets in, which I suspect people will. And just know that all of those dollars will be donated to conservation. So that'll be verified through 2% for conservation, which we're a certified 2% brand. So that's exciting. And the more we raise, the better we can do. What we're giving away, and then we'll kind of move on here. So we are giving away 2 Bear Archery Legit RTHs, which stands for Ready to Hunt. One will be raffled. One will be given based on score of the course. So might be the best score, the worst score, the median score, or some other version of that we come up with. So stand by. We're giving away 4 Tacticam 3.0 cell cams. 2 of them are the pros. 2 of them are the regulars. I think the pros just have that touch screen or that the visual screen on it. The other ones don't, but they're all pretty damn good. Nosler ammunition packages. There is quite a few different calibers of ammunition that we're going to give away. So I'm not sure how I want to do that one yet, just because based on your rifle caliber, you may or may not find that ammunition valuable. You might have a need for it, but they did give us quite a bit, plus some swag. Muck Boot is one of our partners here. And basically, so this is our sponsorship call it, because most of these companies are our partners. Bear Archery. Tacticam's not a partner, but they're friendly and they're pretty cool. And Nosler's our presenting sponsor. Obviously, you can see them on the screen here if you're watching live. Maybe I don't have it on the screen. I don't know what I'm doing. Everything's got switched around tonight. It's a pretty confusing day, as I mentioned. But Muck Boot is getting 20% off to everyone that attends. And then one pair is going to be raffled off, one pair of boots. Rack Hub is giving away an RH2 and an RH1, plus a bunch of shed season swag. Kifaru is going to give away 3 different Rogan packs. Really excited about that. So we might bundle some of this stuff up, put some stuff in the packs. So if you want to pack, maybe win more of this stuff. So, we got to cross that bridge a little bit this week yet. This is some of the stuff we have to work on. I'm talking about is it being a busy week. Latitude sending a full saddle. I don't know which one yet. I forget what they had mentioned. They have obviously a bit in inventory, and they're doing a lot of new stuff right now. So stand by there. But that will be a full kit with the Carbon Series speed sticks. Riton Optics, partner of ours as well. They're giving away some binos. So they're really nice. I've been using, not the ones I'll be giving away, but the same model. I've been glassing with the kids with them, and they're great. Spartan Forge, you may have listened to Bill Thompson's episode with them 2-3 weeks ago, whenever he was here. And he said on that show, 6 months free for everybody in attendance. So if you want that, we'll just need your email, first name and last name, and then I'll pass all that information on a spreadsheet to Bill, and he'll get you set up. If you already have membership, again, I think maybe he'll be able to comp you 6 months. It's a technology company. I'm pretty sure he's got the capability to do something like that. And if I spoke too soon, maybe it's Bill's problem. He can blame me later or something. Weathered Oaks is going to give away some handcrafted turkey calls, maybe some hats. I believe Matt is going to be giving some stuff away. Matt's also the host of the Okayest Fisher podcast. If you don't know Matt Strime, he's a good dude. We're going to be giving away a swag pack as well, Okayest Hunter. I have it written down, just not on the screen that I'm on right now. I'll go back to that in a second. I believe we're getting a platform from a company called Pursuit Platform. Came across them, and they asked if there's anything they could do to help out. I'm like, well, shit, yeah, you want to send us a platform for Foam Fest? You're more than welcome to. DH3, i.e. Deer Hunter Podcast. Kevin's going to send over some DH3 mock scrape, synthetic scrape system as well. And Newcomb Hunting Blinds is going to be sending us a blind or 2, I believe, again, based on inventory stuff. So we'll see what they come up with here. So that's quite a bit of stuff to be giving away for an event that this isn't tacked. This isn't like hundreds and hundreds of people. This is like a room of 40, 50 people. Most of you are going to walk away with something if you come to the event. So it's a good time. Okayest Cook is going to be there. They're going to be giving away some goodie bags full of some fun little trinkets and some of the branded swag. So that'll be pretty cool too. And I think we're going to toss some stuff into those goodie bags as well. Let's see if I can find what we're giving away here, because I can't remember what it was. Oh, bear with me here. I think I can find it. Oh my goodness. There's just so many messages that I have. Okay swag pack, or OH, is 2 bags of coffee. So we have our Shooter Buck blend and our Swamp Donkey. It's not a blend. Shooter Buck is our light roast. Swamp Donkey is our dark roast. If you haven't tried our coffee, it's from Our Grounds Coffee out of, I think he's in PA. It's really good stuff. Roasted in his basement. He's got a great business that he's building from the ground up with his family. It's pretty cool stuff. So we white label that through him. Full transparency, like good stuff. 2 Can't Eat the Horns patch hats. I'm wearing one right now. This is a khaki and coffee one. You get 1 t-shirt voucher, because I don't know what size you're going to need, so we're not going to ship those over. 1 sweatshirt voucher. Again, don't know what size you are. And 1 gun sleeve. So I think that ends up being about $200 retail value. I think we're well over the $5K mark for product if you add all this stuff up. And maybe someone will fact check me on that, and you can let me know what our tally is if you feel so inclined. I probably will do that too this week. So that's Foam Fest. Now then, this is why I felt like I had enough to talk about. So we're 14 minutes in, and I'm still yammering here. I promise I'll get to deer stuff. That's the whole point of this episode. But speaking of deer stuff, to some degree, our season 2 of our hunting show, not podcast, because this is like season 6 or 7 in totality. Season 4, since we've been doing it as Okayest Hunter. I don't know. Nonetheless, season 2 of the Okayest Hunter show, which airs on YouTube and Carbon TV, is going live September 1st. So the Sunday after Foam Fest. It's kind of like a big Okayest Hunter weekend. And we got Foam Fest. We all get together, have a good time, fling some arrows. We're doing a Fling and Arrow Friday too, just because I felt like I needed another excuse to like be accountable to shoot my bow. And I, instead of saying Happy Friday, I felt like Happy Flinging Friday. So let's go fling some arrows. So join me this Friday to go fling some arrows and just tag me or the brand. And that'll be neat. But the Okayest show, I think there's like 12 or 14 episodes. I'm not exactly sure. I'm going to structure it on the tail end or with some bonus episodes. Um, but I think we're going to try to get them all published through the month of September. And I think there's a couple reasons for that. One is I'd hate to tease an episode a week. Like I feel like at some point people just lose interest uh, if they're spread that far apart because there's a bunch of them. It's a political year coming November. Like by that time, people are just not going to. I don't know. They're just going to be distracted with stuff. So maybe this will be a good distraction. But we'll just bulk upload everything throughout the month of September. Every week I do. I think math. So 4 weeks in a month. 12 shows divided by 4 weeks. That's 3 episodes a week, I think. So yeah, I think 3 episodes a week. Maybe we do like a Monday, Wednesday. I don't know. I feel like a weekend's a better time. So maybe it's Friday, Sunday, Wednesday. Help me out, guys, gals. I don't know. Something like that. And then you can consume the whole thing in the month of September. And then if you don't get to it, obviously you have your October, November, December. But what we did the first one is we launched in March, which was a fine idea. But the reason we did that was because we were heading up to a trade show and we wanted to have it ready for the trade show. And my thought was like, well, shit, it's March. People are probably dying for deer content because it's not deer hunting season. Well, I'm not sure that I was entirely wrong, but I don't think I was anywhere near entirely right either. So I'm curious to see how that is received this time of year. I think a lot of brands are putting out stuff nowish or through September. So it might be a noisy space, but I think that's kind of what we want as deer hunters. I think we want deer hunting content when it's deer hunting season, even though it's all from last year. We're not the hunting public. We don't put stuff out real time. Maybe that'll change. I don't know. We got some stuff cooking here, so it's kind of neat, but we'll see where that all goes. And your feedback is welcome. I want to hear what you like, what you didn't like, what's annoying, what's good, what's bad, all that stuff, so we can make improvements because we like to try to do a good job, albeit our name is Okayest. Just gives us a lot of grace with things like that. And this shitty podcast where I'm talking to myself. But back to Dalton's question now, because I think that's all. That concludes my announcement-y type stuff. Yeah, I think that's all I have. And I should probably just slow my rate of speech here because this isn't a sprint. I got some time to cover here. So Dalton said, I'll throw it up on the screen. I don't see any callers in the queue yet, but again, reminder, we're live right now. And the call line is 262-757-4122. So if you want to call in, let's call in. Let's hear what you have to say. Dan did that. Flanging Fridays are the coolest thing since sliced deer. Boom. Look at that. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate you, buddy. So Dalton said, always interested in talking about mock scrapes. Do you run them and how do they work best in the northern region? Well, northern might be relative. Dalton, I forget where you're at, but I might be just north of you just by matter of being in Wisconsin. If I get far north in Wisconsin, that's, big woods territory. I have no fucking clue. So down here, we did a MEP because I forgot the DH3 when I went out to hang cams. And just roughed up the ground a whole bunch, made some big dirt patches, tried to get a licking branch and under a tree and so forth. And so far, it's okay, Derek. It's okay. You shouldn't be commenting. Then you just got to go to bed, bro. It's okay. It's not a big deal. Although I just I miss Greg deeply. I talked to him today, and I just miss him. I just miss his his pheromones and his beard, and I fucking miss Greg, okay? And I just love when you guys are here. It's a better experience. And but it's okay. I'm trying to look up my review real quick. So to Dalton's point, Derek helped me. Speaking of Derek, he helped me hang the cams that I hung, and there's been some good activity. Like there's lots of deer coming through, plenty of does. Like there's a lot of does, which is awesome because I'm pretty enthused to go lay the smackdown on a doe and just kind of knock the rust off of things, get the confidence up, fill the freezer a little bit, take some of that pressure off. So if I get an opportunity to get out there, I'd love to get a doe. I'm certainly after a doe. I'd prefer to not get a buck right away because I kind of want to enjoy hunting and not tag out. Like I think that would be a bit depressing. Taking out a buck tag, I would probably go back out and get some does too. But usually by the time I get something, my wife kind of starts to go, yeah, you got something. You sure you need to go back out? And it's kind of like, yeah, I kind of do. But lots of activity coming into the scrapes on the cams. And, we had Kevin on last week with the Deer Hunter podcast, and we kind of talked about his educational three-part system, the education, the catalyst, and I forget what the third part is. Forgive me, everybody, especially Kevin. Um, it's late. It's been a long day. It's almost 10 o'clock. So I'm running on low, and I'm going to be up for a long time editing shit. So anyway, the branch catalyst part is interesting because it seems as though without any sort of incentive, which I can go back out and put some stuff down. Lizard Hill actually sent us some stuff too. Lizard Hill Bones sent us some stuff too. So I might do one-on-one and DHA on the other, just to, give everybody some love here. But because there's nothing official other than I just like these guys. I think they're good dudes doing good stuff. But so far, it's been enough to create this catalyst where it's self-sustaining. Now the deer have done their thing, and it's bringing more deer, and then more deer come in, and it's just kind of perpetuating more deer activity. I just pulled up my Reveal app right now because that's what I'm running. And by the way, I've had no issues with these things. They've been fine. Both batteries are also at 100%, which I find to be interesting. I'm running the rechargeable. No, I'm just running lithium. It's not rechargeable. I couldn't find enough rechargeables when I needed them. But yeah, so far so good. And good buck sign or activity coming through, good doe sign and activity coming through. I did get one coyote, maybe twice. I don't know if it's the same coyote or not, at night. Some turkeys. I have one of the trail cams set above a branch, and there's a lot of bird activity, which I kind of don't mind. It's kind of neat seeing a bunch of birds land on this twig in front of the camera. I don't mind wasting the pictures on that. I think it's just kind of fun. It's like bird watching virtually from my phone in the middle of the day. So I don't know if that answers the question. Do you run them? I think kind of, yeah. How do they work best? That I'm not sure. And they seem to be working for how we're doing it. So I think that's okay. That's kind of that. So yeah, Greg's been traveling a bunch. He's literally every week he's traveling. Every time he tells me he's traveling, I'm like, oh, my soul. I'm not. It's another week. I'm not going to see you, buddy. Come on. But it's not that I'm mad. I just I think. Do you guys miss Greg? As listeners, because I feel like Greg is a lot cooler than me. He knows more stuff about stuff. But you can always listen to the Okayest Fisher podcast because he seems to be able to maintain that one because he doesn't have to be present physically in my house. So I think that's probably a little bit easier for him to do. So deer stuff. I think one of the things I kind of wanted to touch on is there's some topics that are just overdone. They're overcooked. They're burnt, but they're still being talked about all the time. And I don't even mean controversial topics. I just mean overlooked spots, buck bedding, all the stuff. And I'm not picking on anybody. But what I find interesting is that you need to hear something a lot of times from a lot of people for it to start to sink in, for you to internalize it, process it your own way. So I don't think that's a bad thing that we're hearing certain topics over and over and over again. I'm thinking to myself as a podcaster, because I was challenged with what the hell am I going to talk about tonight on my own? If there's something I'm going to talk about, there's no way I'm going to pick something that hasn't been discussed before, unless it's a newsworthy breaking news situation, maybe literally it hasn't been talked about before on a podcast or a hunting podcast. But by and large, most of these topics that we as podcasters do aren't super fresh. And so then the other side of that coin is, well, what isn't talked about enough? And I don't mean controversy. I mean, what do we as deer hunters want to hear more about? Because there's only so many things you can talk about with these animals. And there is a funnel of learning. You get deeper down the path and certain topics are more interesting. I think Derek's doing a really good job with dropping pins and teasing out lessons from stories from people that have had a lot of success killing big bucks. I think that's a unique way to get at maybe the same information, but just from a different angle or a different lens, or rather than this is the how I do it, or this is the gear I use, or this is how I read the terrain and the patterns. It's more like this is what I noticed, and this is what chord got struck with the experience I had up to that point. It's like reading a book, 2, 3, 4, 5 times throughout the course of 10 years, maybe. You're going to pick different things up in that book that you didn't get the first 1 or 2, 3 times, and you're gonna have a different opinion or perspective on it too. So it's not even that maybe you read something and you did get it, and then you read that thing again, it's not hasn't been missed, but now your perception of that has completely altered because you have new information. So, I don't think any topic's ever gonna get really too tired. I think we're always gonna be interested in buck betting or how bucks use pinch points and what thermals do to the how the bucks are gonna be traveling. What's happening with doe movement, how deer paying attention. There's so many topics, um, that you can talk about. And, this is the Okayest Hunter podcast. We're a generalist show. We talk about all sorts of shit. We'll talk about trapping, we'll talk about bear hunting, we'll talk about elk, we'll talk about whitetail a lot. We'll talk about just goofing around and 3D archery and whatever. We'll talk about the state of the, industry, if you will, in some cases. We'll talk a lot about, I don't know, just our mission and ethos of like, let's end hunter bashing and let's get back to our roots. So we discuss a lot of things, but the tactical stuff I'm always fascinated because I am always trying to learn more and do a better job in the deer woods and bring meat home. Not that my family depends on the meat, but it is enjoyable. It's a special occasion type thing. We pull the venison, so I like that we do that. Um, what's most notably important about listening to podcasts, especially deer hunting podcasts, I suppose, because that's what this is. There's a lot of good ones out there. There are a lot of hunting podcasts, and more keep popping up. I mean, shit, we have a network of podcasts here, so it's not all deer hunting, but I mean, it just goes to show there's more and more podcasts coming all the time, and are coming into the space. So with the advent of AI and Chat GPT and I don't even know what the other ones are with Google and shit, but there's a lot of them. Microsoft's got one. Everyone's got a chat bot or a large language model. Spartan Forge has one called Cyber Scout. So that being said, what's cool, man, I'm having a hard time getting my thoughts together. Jeez. A lot of content on the internet, articles, so forth, are they're not 100% written by ChatGPT. I mean, some of them very well could be and probably are, but they're certainly augmented by it or supplemented by it to some degree. So it's going to be hard to discern if ChatGPT wrote an article or if a human did. It's some of the things it can put together aren't bad. Like it's not bad at all. Uh, but with a podcast, I'm speaking. We're having dialogue. We're having conversations. We're reading comments off the screen, taking callers. Well, not tonight. No one's calling in. It's 10 o'clock at night on a Monday, so everyone's probably like going to bed. This is not AI. This is real. This is some real shit. This is real, authentic conversations that it is a bit more intimate. And I don't mean in a sexual way. I mean intimate in like, if you've listened to the show for even like 6 months or a year or more, like you probably feel like you know me, Derek, and Greg to some degree. Or if you watch The Hunting Public, you probably feel like you're hanging out with your buddies when you watch that show. That's why it's so fun to watch, Or if you're watching Seek One, you probably feel like, man, Lee's a good dude. I feel like I could go hang out with Lee or whoever it is. Maybe you watch Curtis Zabel, with Behind the Bow. Like there's a number of content creators on YouTube and then podcasts. There's like Bowhunter Chronicles. Adam's a great dude. Kevin with Deer Hunter Podcast, great dude. You listen to these guys, working class bowhunter, you feel like you're hanging out with the fellas and Kurt over there. It's interesting to me that it imbues that level of connectivity and like belonging to some degree. But it's all original content. So it's deeper dialogues, it's deeper meaning, it's deeper value, and it's real shit. It's not fabricated. I'm not reading off a teleprompter. There's no ChatGPT did not tell me what to talk about tonight. I have nothing to. I mean, it could help with that, I suppose, but this is all original shit, and it's original every single week. Everything we do every week is well, pretty off the cuff, as you can tell as I'm sitting here tonight. We didn't have a guest lined up for this week. I blocked off the Tuesday, so we weren't going to have a guest this week, and it just didn't work out that I could have everyone be on the show. So nonetheless, I digress. Hopefully y'all, I don't know, appreciate hunting podcasts. There's a lot of them. There's some really good ones, and everyone's a little bit different, and I think different is good. I'm a strong believer in different, not better, and sometimes different, therefore then can be better. If that makes any damn sense at all. I don't know. Tanzan, thanks for commenting. I'll toss your note up on the screen here. But Tonson said, do a show about New Mexico elk, specifically Unit 50 rifle. I have 6 weeks. Joel Gigliana with Elk Bros / Blue Collar Elk lives in New Mexico and puts on. He's a former teacher, and he helps people get into elk hunting through a course and through his content and through his podcast. He's been on our show, I think, once or twice. I know once for sure, maybe twice. I just can't remember if we brought him back on a second time, unless he called in or something. Super nice guy, knows a ton. He's tagged out several, like we're talking like 20 years in a row or something. And it sounds like New Mexico, from what I've learned from him actually, is I don't want to say it's a sleeper state. I don't know if that's the case, but it certainly sounds like you have a higher likelihood to. It sounds like it's a true draw, or I'm sorry, lottery, not draw. So anybody could get picked, so to speak. And for that reason, I think New Mexico is probably a great place to consider. Excuse me, elk hunting rather than maybe Colorado, and there are lots changing over there actively right now. Those tectonic plates are shifting. The way that's all going, I don't know where that's going to end up. But Wyoming, I think is expensive or hard to get. Montana, same. I think maybe those are some of the more picturesque states that I think about. Where if I wanted to go, I think I'd want some of that. But New Mexico's got some beautiful stuff too, and a pretty healthy herd. So I think, yeah, check those guys out for sure. Tell them, the Okayest guy sent you, and maybe we can coax him into being a guest on the show here sometime soon, because I know elk is kicking off all over the place. So he might not be available for that same reason too, though, given the timing of that or what have you. So I guess we'll see. We'll see where that goes. But that's a good comment. Thank you. We do have a caller. Looks like Noah is awake at 10 o'clock in Wisconsin. Noah, 1 second here while I get the volume adjusted. Hold on, and I'll bring you in here in just a moment. All right, can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you just fine.
Sweet. Well, hopefully, if there's still people in the comments, they can confirm that they can hear you, but I can. So how's it going, buddy? What's going on? Why are you up so late?
Oh, I've been up late for a while. Kind of out of work for the moment.
Shit.
Just how my line of work goes.
All right.
But
more time for hunting stuff, I suppose, huh?
Oh yeah. Just finished up all my habitat work, just waiting on some trees to get delivered, and then it's I'm ready for hunting season here.
Sweet, dude. That's exciting. I think I saw that you registered for Foam Fest. I think you'd mentioned it last time you called in. Bring any buddies with you or anything like that? Or you excited about it?
Yeah, I'm excited about it. It's always a fun time over there. I actually think I mentioned it last time. I was just up at an archery shoot up in Poinet, I believe it was.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I'm excited for it. Still have not gotten any of my buddies to get a bow yet.
That's
trying
rough.
to work on them.
Rough. I'm trying to invite some people that don't hunt or don't have bows. Yeah, I think they've gun hunted, but they don't bow hunt. And I'm like, dude, you could win a bow. You can hang out with people that are shooting. You can do the course. Like, it's a good time. It'd probably be a really interesting way to kind of come into things. But having been to the event, I think you were there the first year too, and you've gone to other events as you just mentioned. How, in your opinion, or like from your point of view, what's different about Foam Fest, or not different, or what do you enjoy about it in contrast to maybe some other events you go to?
I mean, honestly, that was my only other event was this Poinet thing. I mean, even then that was chill too. I mean, that's one thing I liked. I don't know if people are just worried that it's going to be too serious. It really wasn't. I mean, even going there just as by myself, I found somebody to go shoot the course with. We just had a good time.
That's fantastic. It is pretty cool that I think most of so like Anthony Heller, who he hosts the Deer Vein podcast. He's not far from us here. And he puts on a shoot usually around Father's Day in June called the 3D Archery Playground on a private property that he owns, him and his dad own. And it's a lot of work. It's way more work than the one that we're putting on because he does everything himself. But it's a pretty dynamic course, but every time I've ever gone to any archery event, there's usually other people we sync up with that like we don't know at all, and we make friends like instantly. It's just great. The camaraderie that bow hunters have amongst ourselves. I mean, we think there's all this hunter bashing going on, and on social media, I think there's a shit ton. It's unfortunate, but in real life, there's virtually none. Everyone's great. I've had zero. There's like that, like no one's getting in fist fights over bows. Like it's all fine. It's a really good, healthy environment, good time. So every archery event I've been to has been pretty great. Some of the fitness related ones are a bit intense in terms of like competing and exercising. None of that's bad. It's just this isn't that. This is like just come as you are, hang out, shoot the shit. It's all good.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I like about it. I was at this other shoot. Had a couple ideas for you guys. It was I don't know if you've shot the iron buck or like the iron turkey before.
No, that's more like the trick shot type stuff.
Yeah, it's so it's a silhouette of a deer, and it's just the vital area is just foam. The rest is all steel.
Yeah, you see people freaking breaking arrows on that stuff.
Oh, but it was great though. I mean,
did anyone hit it?
With our expensive arrows, it was. Yeah. People were hitting it all left and right.
Did anyone hit the vital though? The vitals? Did they get through the steel?
I hit the vitals a bunch. Yeah,
a
bunch of people were.
Okay.
What they did was.
How far was the shot?
I believe the turkey they had at 20. And the iron buck they had, I think it was like 32-ish.
Yeah, that's a.
Can't remember the exact range on that one.
Yeah,
what they did was they tied it to their raffle.
Yep.
So like it was $1 an arrow, and then if you hit the vitals, you got like 5 raffle tickets or something like that.
That's pretty cool. And you did. I've seen those types of shots. I was actually at the WCB shoot several years ago, and I'd gone, and it was like a really far shot. Like it might have been like 80 or 90 yards. And so it's just ding, 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 like people just busting arrows left and right. And then Trevor with the Outdoor Drive podcast nailed it in the vitals. And it was like, oh! I mean, he was like the first and only one to do it. And he won a big prize. And it was pretty freaking cool. It was like one of those moments, just had to be there for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember if I shot it or not. I don't think I did. I was like, there's no chance I'm going to.
I don't know if I would have taken a shot at it. Because I'm running those, the grizzly sticks too, and you know what those are like.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they got some weight to them. They're not light. They'll drop a little bit on you the further out you get.
It's more of the expense portion of it. Losing a $20 arrow.
Any arrow is expensive. I don't think like losing an arrow is something you want to do by choice, and I'll lose a couple by accident. I'm certain. Like I think when I went to the deer vein shoot that I just mentioned, I think I was just shooting at a target block to just make sure I was good before I hit the course, and I fucking lost that arrow. It was the first shot I took at the event. The first shot I took, I lost an arrow. I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" And I don't even know what I did. I didn't lose an arrow the rest of the time. So that was a pretty. I don't even know what the hell happened. It was pretty weird. I was like, oh, not off to a great start. They did a cool competition at that one, though. At the end, they did a target block shoot off where you went up against you and one other hunter went up, and then it just kept going. It was like elimination. So the target kept going further and further and further and further, and people just kept getting match until there was just one left standing, and that was cool. I really thought that was a ton of fun. There was a lot of like pressure. Yeah. You're like everyone's looking at you. Are you better than this guy next to you or this gal next to you? I don't know. You shoot, and it's like, oh, I'm still in, and the pressure just kept building. And I think that pressure is kind of a unique way to mimic some of the adrenaline maybe you'd get with a deer. It's, not the same thing, but it was interesting. I enjoyed that. That was kind of cool. So maybe
anytime you can get that pressure on, I know I'm going to see that first deer walk out, September, 14th this year?
Yep. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
I'm going to see that first deer walk out, and I'm going to be shaking like a leaf no matter what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I see about my Trailcam bunch. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, I kind of know what it might be, but it might not be that. I don't really know. And it's early, I think, where my cams are set up. They're not designed to be in a spot that I should be picking up a lot of activity right now. I really should be picking up not much at all. And eventually, I saw some nice.
I mean, that was a really nice spot. I saw that picture you posted on Shooter Buck Club there.
Oh yeah. That wasn't even the good stuff yet. There's some other ones that I'm like, oh yeah.
Really?
I'll send you a shoot me a note, and you're on, I don't know, I think you're on Facebook. I'll send you one that looks real. I share with the guys. I didn't share that one publicly. It's a little bit different. It was exciting though. I'm like, wow, this is cool. Like, it's pretty neat. I'm not going to probably make anything of it. I'm sure I won't capitalize on anything that it's all the intel it's giving me, but I just like seeing the pictures more so than anything.
Yeah. You got to have a good attitude. I mean, I'm psyched this year. Most years previously with my property, I've not seen many good-sized bucks preseason or into the season until the rut. And they just come from all corners onto my property because my property's always been the doe property.
Okay. So then you hold does and they come in to look for hot does.
Yep.
And yeah, that's a hell of a.
But this year I've had 3 very nice shooter bucks in daylight here in the last few weeks.
Yeah, keep monitoring, man. Keep monitoring. There's going to be a lot of changing happening around. Beans are going to start to die off, I think, sooner than later with the lack of rain and the pressing heat. I think we're going to get foliage will probably drop sooner than normal. Beans will die sooner than normal. It'll be interesting. I have heard some chatter of like an earlier rut / fall, or that it's going to be what's the word that something with a B, like it's going to be 2 chunks, bifurcated. What's the freaking word I'm thinking of? Doesn't matter because I'm not going to think of it. But I wonder if anyone else has heard anything like that across like the Midwest, where there may be an early.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't really trust any weather reports, really. I mean, think of any other job, you can be as wrong as much as a weatherman can be.
Dude, I took meteorology in college, thinking it'd be a valuable course to take because I love being outside, and it was so hard. I think I dropped the class. It was so hard. I was like, the fuck? What is it? I was like, this is supposed to be easy. Like, it's weather. And it was like complicated. I was like, no one of these assholes get it wrong all the time. None of that makes any sense. It was like really difficult. So, but yeah, you can get a lot of that all wrong. It's never right. I'm actually trying to make sure that I'm not that I have a control over it, but I'm pretty conscious of the weather for this Saturday. And so far, it still looks good. Like, there's some storms on Thursday, Friday, but then Saturday is like 0% chance, just a hot sunny day. So I'll take that over the rain. We've had rain the last few years, but it happened later on, so it wasn't a problem.
Yeah, last I saw it was supposed to rain like tomorrow, and then I thought it was supposed to be nice. It's actually supposed to get to like 56 in the morning on Saturday, I thought.
Interesting. Yeah, it was hot. I went for a run after work today, and it was swampy out there. Like, it was thick. Felt like I was running in a cloud. It was pretty brutal. I didn't go far. My wife had me driving home from the beach with the kids, and she's like, "Do you want me to pick you up?" I'm like, "No, I love it. I'm gonna suffer." And then she was trying to show the kids that I was on there, like, "There's your dad." And then my one kid didn't see me, so he threw a huge fit. She's like, turned back around. So then I was like, "Oh, she turned back around. Like, she's trying to like really pick me up. Like, what's going on?" So then I was like, "Well, at this point, you've driven past twice. Now I'm gonna get in." And it was comical because it's like, "Oh, you've walked past me twice, shooter buck," or whatever. Like, now I'm gonna shoot you. Like, your mind changes. Don't give me another chance. So I got in the car. It was a sweaty mess, and it was great. The heat, though, man, I love it. I love running in that heat. It's my favorite. But yeah, dude, thanks for calling in. How's the food plot coming along? You got some trees coming, you said, and then what? What's next?
That's pretty much it. The trees are just replacement trees. The nursery I go through, it's over in Michigan. They do a pretty nice thing. You buy like the survival kit. It's just basically some little insurance for it, a tree tube, some other stuff they do. And if the tree dies, they'll do a free replacement if it died within a year.
Sweet, dude. That's
so
great.
Yeah, 3 of my apples didn't make it. 1 of my persimmons didn't make it, so I'm getting all those replaced. I might just have to refreshen up my mock scrapes. I didn't want to comment about that one commenter, Dalton, I think it was.
Yep.
Yeah, so if he's still listening, you know, I'm up north, obviously, and I run my mock scrapes. I do them all rope, like the hemp rope.
Okay.
Just hung down. I think I got them like the bottom of it at 4 feet.
Okay.
And then I use stuff called buck fever. It's essentially very similar to the DH3 that Deer Hunter does.
There's a lot of
It's
products.
a synthetic blend.
Okay.
And they have different stuff. So they have the actual tarsal gland scent. That's what you spray in the dirt. And then they have I forgot what it's called, but it's the forehead glands. They're different.
Okay. Yeah, I think I remember.
And
Kevin
that's
talking
what
about that
you
last night.
spray on the rope.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. I have
And I mean,
the ability for my trail cam or whatever to send video, but I haven't been requesting a bunch of it yet. I don't think there's a lot of value yet there, but I can see the bucks working the scrapes or checking them out at least.
Yeah, I mean, even on mine, I don't really have it run video, even when it's on a mock scrape. I just don't get much benefit out of it. So I just usually have it run a very low interval on the pictures. And then that usually gets me a few of them while it's working the scrape.
Yeah, there's things to pay attention to, I suppose, like the wind direction. Are their ears pointed a certain way? What direction did the ear come into the camera? Where were they angled? Eventually, you start to piece some of that stuff together.
Yeah, I
and
can see that.
You can kind of get some idea. Were they coming from the food in the morning? Were they headed towards the bed? And like, what were they? You know. And I'm starting to see some of that patterning happen already. Even just with I'm like, okay, if they're coming in at night, they're coming in a certain direction, which tells me they're coming off of the food. Like I'm trying to think a little bit harder about that stuff, or a little bit more critically. So when the time comes, I kind of know like they're moving this way and this wind, which would make sense. But they're not always going to move nose into wind or whatever. I think I've talked about this on other episodes. There's different points of sail if you're if you're into sailing. The way that you would fill a sail with wind, you don't always have to have the boat back to the wind. You would never get to where you're going. It's called tacking and jiving or jiving. So like points of sail. I think that's a really interesting diagram. If you go Google it and look at images, I'm trying to find a quick picture on my phone while I'm talking to you because there's I should pull it up on the computer, but it's just too much. There's like if your back is to the wind.
Yeah, I mean,
there's like broad reach, beam reach, close hauled, and then if you're not in the wind at all, your sails is called luffing. They just luff. But I feel like that's the least likely path a deer would take. But they'll take any other path if they can cut that wind a little bit. They just need to get some information, into their nose to see what's around them, so to speak. So, things to pay attention to when you're looking at your cell cam or trail cam or whatever, you're pulling those cards. I'm no expert by any stretch. You hear a lot of people talking about stuff, and I pick things up through osmosis and see if I can't piece some things together. But again, I promise I will find a way to F it up. I will not set up right. Something's going to go wrong. There's no guarantees with this shit.
No, I'm the same way here. There's a reason you call it the Okayest Hunter podcast, and the reason we all listen to it.
Yeah, I suppose so. We've never claimed to be experts. Just look at our freaking name of the show. You know what you're getting here. If you're listening to us, like I hope people still can learn from us, and usually it's more from like learn from our mistakes kind of thing, and we make a lot of them, so you're probably learning a ton. Yeah, maybe that's how it works.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just I enjoy listening to you guys, and it's not just fluff stories of guys shooting 200-inch bucks out of Iowa.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of like, I don't think any hunt's a guaranteed, but there certainly are some like template cookie cutter hunts where it's like and more power to them. You're probably trying to get to that point to some degree too. If you get your land figured out, there's a lot of strategy in
for sure.
that. Like that's not easy to to get to that point. But once you do, at some point, you might get a little like restless and want to find a way to mix it up a little bit so it's not so predictable.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, deer do deer stuff. They're not inherently, I mean, they're creatures of habit, but they're not that predictable. They're wild animals, so they will do whatever. But no, dude. Yeah, thanks for calling in. I don't have anyone else in queue. I do see some folks commenting. Dan said, "Amen, brother." Thank you. Michael Kreshmir is. Hopefully, I said your last name correct, Mike. Bear hunting next week. That's exciting. You know, if you follow the Boyer podcast or our channel on Instagram, you'll see that he just got a huge freaking bear with a trad bow. I was debating calling him to tell his bear story tonight, but I feel like that's going to be one where I want everyone around because that could be a lot of fun to hear that story. That shouldn't be for just me, but yeah, bear hunting could be fun. The meat should be tasty. Hopefully, I think he's gonna do all the stuff Bear Grease does, like the Clay Newcomb stuff. He's gonna I don't know what they do to the bear fat. Something. It's like a process.
Yeah, I don't know much about that myself. I'm still waiting to draw my bear tag.
I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. And if I don't know something, I probably won't talk about it too much. I think, where is the the Okayest cook was asking if he could send him some of the meat. He's like, what would it cost to get a chunk to play with? He said he's going to render was the word. Process and render the fat and all that. So like Matt knows what he's doing more than I do because he even used a big word like render. So I'm not sure. I bet you Levi knows what to do with it too. Don't ask Derek to fuck with bears because he left one in his cooler once on accident in his closet. That was a funny story he shared with us, and funny because like it's just one of those things when he's unpacking it just totally escaped his mind and was a disgusting surprise several weeks later maybe in his home. I don't remember what episode that was, but that was a wild story. Maybe like 2 years ago. But well, cool, man. I might wind down and call it a podcast for the week. Maybe I'll still do a rerun of some other episode that maybe has more like hunting tactical stuff. But yeah, I'm glad you called in. Thanks for calling in. We'll see you this Saturday.
Yep. See you then.
All right, Noah. You have a good night, buddy.
Yep. You too.
Bye. I'm really glad he called in. That was really awesome that we had a caller because, well, that was how long was that call? That call was 20 minutes. Noah just saved all y'all from 20 minutes of me bullshitting by myself. Yeah, let me know if there's any good books for hunting. I have these two. I'm just looking around here because random shit, but I'm actively trying to like genuinely learn more about, this brings my next topic, about conservation. And I stumbled across this author, Jim Posewitz. If you're looking at the screen, if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, this might be a good time to put the video on. You can see here, this book is called Beyond Fair Chase. And then he has another book called Inherit the Hunt. I've skimmed through them so far. I don't know that they're cover to cover books, but I really like his disposition and stance or viewpoint towards hunting. Even part of the proceeds of the book go to preserve and sustain hunting. They're not very expensive books. It's like $7. This one's not much either. But really, one thing we're going to be doing here, and I think Dan, who's commenting, is if he's still watching, he's helping us with the design or the mark for this. Mark? Yeah, is that what I want to say? Sure, I'll go with that. Fulfill your hunt. And if you've listened, I don't know, in the last 2 months, maybe, you might have heard me mention fulfill your tag. So he's still here. That's good. I'm glad he's still here. In the comments, fulfill your tag. It's kind of this play off of words of like fill the tag, but hunting is more than just filling a tag, and it's hard to express that. And every hunter you come across, if they're trying to defend hunting to a non-hunter at a wedding, at a table conversation with folks, or some effect like that, like you almost always start with what's more than the kill, because it is. It is, but it's also about the kill. Like it's both things. It's just more than all of that. It's heritage, tradition, camaraderie. It's primal. It goes back to our DNA. It is a way to connect with nature. There's so many things. It's all the stuff that you tap into, even chemically as a human. Like it does something different to you to prey on, an animal like that and have a weapon in your hand. Like it's not like connecting with nature the same way you'd be on a hike, although that's fine. But letting the woods come to life around you, all that stuff. So fulfill your tag is meant to address this narrative that I've witnessed kind of come into the fold or the fray. And it's not a bad narrative. I don't want, if I have to do anything with this platform that we have, albeit not very big at all, is I want to leave things better than I found it, and I want to give more than I take. And give more than I take is probably more aligned with me versus the former, better than I found it. I don't know if we're going to do that, but I can control giving more than we take, and I want to use our platform for as much good as humanly possible. It's why we do the kickback. Our 1% of our total revenue goes into conservation. It's important to us, me, and the brand. So this fulfill your tag, I don't know what I'm calling it, like campaign, I suppose, is meant to raise dollars for conservation, but have a bigger impact than what we can do through our revenue, because we only make so much. Like we're not a huge business, so it's not a ton. Wow, I'm trying to get my words here. So the way that I envision this working is we'll have a mark. For first year, it's going to be a sticker, just because we don't have the time on our side to launch this year, because I suck at planning mostly, and dollars are hard to come by. This sticker is going to be something that if you show you've donated to conservation when you go to buy your tag at whatever state DNR site, most of them have some sort of like, I want to donate an extra roundup or donate $3, $4, $5, $6, $10, $15 to conservation. If you do that, whatever the amount is, we want to give you a sticker in exchange for that. And I want to be able to showcase how much we've been able to, just by grassroots talking about raising dollars for conservation and having people report back, yes, I did this. Great, thank you. Here's your sticker. Now we're just going to tell us how much it was so we can tally that up. By the end of the season, I would love to be able to show through just our network of listeners how much we were able to collectively raise for conservation. Now, if you don't do it through one of those donation buttons on your DNR website, your natural resources website, whatever state you're in, and you still want to contribute, or maybe you already bought your license and you're like, well, I already have my tags. Like, how do I do this? You can buy the sticker when we have it, which will be soonish. And those dollars will count as that tally. And you can buy several stickers, whatever it is. I was talking to Sam Solholt about this because he's really good at doing these types of things. He's got the stamp it forward, and he's just done, as a single human, that guy has done more for conservation than most. And I called Sam and I said, dude, you're really good at this. I have this desire to give more than I take. Use our brand for good. I know we put a lot of memes and gifs and funny ha stuff. We're more than that. Those things are just meant to like pull people in and feed the freaking social media beast. We have a show, we have a podcast network of great humans doing really cool stuff. We're really trying to do like really good things for the community with our mission and ending deer shaming. Like, we want a very positive voice in the hunting community, because I just want positivity to be louder than negativity. You're never going to shut it up, but we can be louder. That's the point. So this narrative that I've noticed that's kind of come into fruition is that hunting isn't conservation. And I believe someone, I forget which organization, nonprofit it was, had a slogan that said hunting is conservation. And I could Google it, but I will distract myself. So that being said, if hunting is conservation, or the people are saying it's not, I just want to tie that together a little bit and say, but it can be. Look, these folks are raising money towards conservation. And if they're doing it through whatever local natural resources website they can, I think that's a net positive impact across the board. And it's being funded by buying a tag to go hunting. So therefore, hunters can be conservationists. And I know that's not unanimously true. You can be a conservationist without being a hunter, and not all hunters are, in fact, conservationists. I just think that a lot of us can be. And this is one way that I want to try to kind of bridge that gap or prevent another wedge being put into the hunting world. I there's enough echo chambers. There's enough things that are separating us and dividing us. If I guess suppose is the word. All these Facebook groups and so forth. So that's kind of what fulfill your tag will be. That will be coming very, very soon. Dan, who's in the chat here, he's a very talented graphic designer, and he's helping put this thing together. What it will be going forward, we've already identified some suppliers and a bit of a supply chain, but these are going to be like a memento coin. Like I think they're called challenge coins, or the memento mori coin that you can buy if you're into stoicism. That's just like, you could die tomorrow or you could die today. So you have this coin in your pocket. It reminds you that like life is short. I could go at any minute. I want to act accordingly. That's a coin that people have to remind them to stay present in life and do good things. I want this to eventually be a coin that's a reminder that you are a conservationist. You're a hunter. You're both of those things, or you can be. And we just don't have the wherewithal to get the coin off the ground in time for this hunting season. Understandably, it's not as simple as a sticker. So stickers first, and the design is fucking amazing. The mock-up is already far and away what I could have anticipated we could do, and it really is tying together hunting and conservation in one image, with conservationist being the token, but fulfill your tag. So rather than fill your tag, fulfill your tag. I think we can fulfill that. So nonetheless, that's my soapbox. Got a couple comments here I'll read, and I'll probably log off and get to producing this particular episode. So Nick said, I'm behind on the episode for 3 weeks. Yikes, that's okay. We don't anticipate everyone will be listening that frequently. Clicked on YouTube, and there you are. So wish I could be at Foam Fest this year. It was the plan, but of course things never go to plan. That's fucking true. I hear you there. That's why we're doing this on a Monday night, which is rare and not normal. The reason you keep getting buffer and evolving is because of you. Oh, the reason? Okay. Haven't changed your stance. Don't stop. Thank you, Nick. Surprised to see you on a Monday. Yes, if I've learned to the last 3 episodes, I would know that you would be here tonight. No, this was total audible. You would not have known. I did not express or state this last week at all. I just decided I wasn't going to have time later in the week. So let's just get it done, because I want to show up every week. I could have just decided to do nothing, and that's just not how I roll. So excited for Saturday, 12 years old, and looking forward to meeting you, and I'm very excited. That's awesome. Excited to see you there. Even more exciting if you win something like a bear bow. That'd be super cool. Now, one thing I did want to call back out on the fulfill your tag is for everyone that does send something, in addition to getting stickers, I want to put together a drawing that we would announce at the end of the year. So for anyone that does send stuff through, we'll figure out all the channels and forum posts and all that shit. Excuse my language. Then we'll do a drawing or a raffle to win some really exciting stuff. And as you can see by what we have for Foam Fest, I think we have access to some really great partners doing some great things. And ideally, if I can do this right by next year and show proof of concept, we could probably get partners to match up to a certain percentage to really put a dent in what we can do for conservation. And I don't want it to be Okayest Hunter. I want it to be everybody. I want it to be our collective audience, our community. This is not about us. This is about doing good for conservation, doing good for what we want to cherish and leave behind for our children, our children's children. So, just thinking about the future and what we can do with it and how we can shape it and how we can have a place in it and make sure that there is something left for other people. I think Doug Dern said it best. It's not ours. It's just our turn. Great quote from a really great guy. So with that, I'll log off. I think I'll play some music to make it sound like I did something cool tonight. But thanks for tuning in, everybody. Excited to see anyone that's going to make it to Foam Fest this year. And you can, if you want to get to know us better, you can continue to listen to our podcast. you can watch the Okayest Hunter show, and I guarantee you'll get to know us really well and watch that show. It is a shit show. So enjoy. Have a good night, everybody.